Joining me now, obviously a pair of political heavyweights, Leslie Sanchez, CBSN political contributor, Republican strategist. To her left, camera right, Lynda Tran, CBSN political contributor, a Democratic strategist, also the former communications director for Senator Tim Kaine, and still the person with the longest introduction here at the network. I want to thank both of you. There you are, Longwood University, Farmville, Virginia, the scene, of course, site of tonight's debate. Lynda, let's start with you. Interestingly, both candidates largely unknown to the American public. Our poll it's here at CBS News actually showed that more than half of likely voters don't know enough about either candidate to even have an opinion. Essentially, then, this is quite a coming out party, if nothing else. So what does Tim Kaine look to do to gain an edge?
Well, the truth is it's quite a coming out party for both of them, but really if they're doing their jobs, they're not particularly talking about themselves. They're talking about the candidates at the top of the ticket. Tim Kaine is certainly going to focus on Hillary Clinton's policy platforms and the vision that she has for the country. And Pence is going to be talking about Donald Trump. He might be explaining some of the things that have happened in the last week as well.
Meanwhile, Leslie, same question. If nothing else, perhaps Mike Pence not looking, perhaps won't be looking to make a case for himself as he might be looking to explain the actions of his running mate here in the last week or so.
Definitely. It's going to be imperative for the governor to get on the offense from the very beginning, because there are many different areas we know he's going to have to answer for, including the tweet storm you've mentioned, Taxgate we've got going on, and all of these other areas. But there is a nice juxtaposition between these two governors, and they would ultimately be, second in line. We do want to get to know them. That is imperative. And you do have a lot of, for example, we'll get into things like, I'm sure, flip-flops by Governor Kaine that he has on everything from abortion rights, gay rights. He's had to change his position on TPP, on offshore drilling off the coast in the Atlantic. Those may be some areas that Governor Pence talks about. But ultimately, to our previous points, it will be the top of the ticket and explaining, in many cases, Donald Trump. And
Lynda, it's interesting because both candidates here really did join their respective tickets opposed on a number of points with their running mates. And so if that's what Tim Kaine may have to explain tonight, meanwhile, what might Mike Pence have to answer for, again, as somebody who's been noted throughout the morning here on our program, somebody with future political aspirations?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear he has future political aspirations, especially in the ways that he has been divided from his own candidate. Everything from climate change to immigration to trade in particular, actually. He's somebody who has been a strong proponent of NAFTA. So I expect he's going to have to answer some of those questions. But really, the focus is not going to be so much on him. It's going to be on the issues that have arisen over the past week and some of the other controversies that have been part of the cycle to date. It's been a long cycle. There's been a lot to talk about. And I think both gentlemen are going to be up there explaining the top of the ticket for both of them.
Lynda, if there is, Leslie, rather, if there is a topic that we've not heard much about in this, certainly this general election cycle, but one that in election cycles past has certainly informed the election itself, it's the issue of faith. Tonight, however, in these two men, that certainly seems to be something that has defined their collective political experience. What, if anything, might we hear about it?
Well, it's really interesting. That's a great point to bring up, because they are such strong, faith-oriented individuals. For the Republican side, Governor Pence has certainly been someone who was seen as that kind of red meat conservative, someone that spoke to the issue of protecting religious liberties. And I think you're going to hear him talk about a defense of that Donald Trump would defend religious liberties. He would appoint conservative justices to the Supreme Court. And those are very, very important areas. And I think with respect to Governor Kaine, I can't speak to him directly, but he's had a very long-standing effort of bringing communities together through faith. They can both agree on that, which is another part of what makes them very likable. They do reach across the aisle. Both have been known to do that. They've just been put in these very difficult positions of defending positions at the top of the ticket on the Democratic, for example, side, trying to now eliminate the Hyde Amendment, which is allowing for federal dollars to pay for abortions and Medicaid. You're seeing some flip-flops on that by Governor Kaine. So it puts these positions, these candidates, in a very difficult position.
Lynda, she just used, did Leslie, the word likable, and certainly something that has also defined these two candidates at the top of their respective tickets are their historic unfavorable numbers. And so if perhaps these two candidates we'll see there tonight are the counterpoints to their respective running mates, In an election year unlike any other, as we've perhaps dismissed vice presidential debates past, what tangible impact do you suppose this could have one way or another?
Well, I think Leslie and I both agree that they are very, very likable people. I would add that Tim Kaine is also somebody who is noted for his sincerity. Even Jerry Kilgore, who ran against him back in 2005 as governor, said that that was what was so devastating about his debate performance against Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine is somebody who's very likable, very sincere. He's going to be able to explain the policies and the issues in a way that I think voters are going to be able to relate to. And that, I think, is a standout difference from what you might see otherwise.
Leslie, I mentioned the CBS News poll, the results that came from it following the first presidential debate. One number that really jumped out to me is that some 32% of the voters polled said that they came away with a more favorable view of Hillary Clinton following that debate. Only 10% of those responding had the same to say about Donald Trump. It certainly seems, if nothing else, that is a number with just about 5 weeks to go that the Trump campaign, and really it starts tonight, I suppose, with the governor, are going to have to look to correct. And certainly tonight is one big opportunity.
It's definitely helpful, but one thing we know about this election cycle, this is the unlikable election. It's just the lesser of two evils. And it's a horrible way to say it, but that's how a lot of voters feel. They're very torn between, do you want change? And that would be in the form of Donald Trump. And you see a lot of establishment Republicans have trouble with that. Or do you want more of the same and perhaps a lot more of these kind of scandals and corruption and that kind of thing that you had in the Clinton years going on with the Clintons? And it's a difficult choice. Coming out of that debate, you're exactly right, though, Josh. Donald Trump did not do himself any favors. They're both unlikable, but hopefully this debate tonight will curb that and we'll actually get to things that Lynda and I agree about, like jobs and issues that voters really want to see where these candidates want to go.
Issue-based discussion.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
Or a unicorn romping through the meadows there in Farmville. Who knows?
It could be either one, Josh.
Who knows?
At this point, who knows?
I'll take C, both of the above. Leslie Sanchez, Lynda Tran. Again, you're joining us throughout the day. We do appreciate the time.